So Lady Thatcher's body wasn't even cold, and the ghouls were out in force. Street parties popped up in the UK with drunks holding signs stating, "Rejoice, Thatcher is dead." On Twitter, if you expressed sorrow over her death, some would respond with vile slurs. How odd. England may be the most politically correct nation on earth, riddled with strident eggheads spooked by words. Yet when someone great dies who isn't a leftist, tolerance magically vanishes. You think they cheered like that when bin Laden died? I return to Dennis Prager, who once said, the right thinks the left is wrong, but the left thinks the right is evil. And so the minister is a monster which backs the bile. Which is odd, since this hate is coming from jerks too young to remember Thatcher. Yep, it's coming from students, some young, some eternal. At one conference, some students cheered Thatcher's death. So why such hate from people who know so little? Well, if you swim in the sewer, you're going to come out stinking. And that's your average academic these days, immersed in a scholastic cesspool where concepts of truth and morality are replaced by an evil banality called relativism and a hatred of Western achievement. To a British student, good and evil blur, and the friend of our enemy is always a friend. And so they protest capitalism while holding iPhones and wearing Nikes. How ironic that these tools spend most of their lives in class without ever having any. Yeah, I saw you laughing, Bob.
No, it's just yeah. Once again, you've gotten into this faculty lounge, and they're all a bunch of.
But they're all students.
Well, let me say this. Let me relate a story. I did my radio commentary yesterday in Washington, in TOP, which is a big radio station, right? Covered, and I said about Thatcher that if Hillary Clinton gets the Oval Office, she has at least a small part to thank Thatcher, who really did break the mold for people like Merkel and others women in politics.
Angela Merkel, yeah.
You would have thought that I said that your mother wears combat boots through the sewer. I mean, I got from my side saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I said in the radio spot, I didn't agree with her politics, but you have to give her credit for having broken through what Hillary Clinton called the glass ceiling. Right? For women. And man,
you made a fair and accurate statement.
Well, but
it shows small-minded people attack you.
You should have been the recipient of my phone calls.
Ridiculous.
I want to show a cover of this is no surprise. This is from the Socialist Worker. This is their latest, a beautiful thing. Wow. Now, here's the point, Eric.
Sick.
Isn't it better in a way to be honest about your hatred of somebody than when somebody dies to pretend that you really respected them, like certain leaders in the American government?
You love that. You like the honesty. I think your Prager's line was best. The left thinks whatever we're evil, the right thinks they're wrong. It just shows the difference, the way people are treated. These kids who are throwing Thatcher death parties don't realize what she did. She saved England. England was on the downward slide. There was 3-day work weeks, some of them, because they couldn't get power, because the unions were so strong. They were sucking all the income out of the economy. And meanwhile, people couldn't pick up a phone and make a phone call. They couldn't turn on the lights. She saved the economy, and they should be thankful for her not throwing parties in her death.
Yeah, but now they need her again. This is the problem, because it's been a total backslide to what it used to be, and it very much parallels what's going on in this country. And the liberals in that country admitted that they used multiculturalism, mass immigration policy, very liberal immigration policy to change dramatically the culture, the dynamic, and the population in England as a direct backlash against what Maggie Thatcher was doing. So now you see the fruits of those labors, and you're seeing a lot of that here in terms of this administration and the policy of the liberal left.
Dana, do you think these are just small pockets of sad idiots? Or, I mean, but then again, there's Russell Brand writing a fairly idiotic piece about this. But do you think,
a long one.
It's way too long. He's actually he can write. He's a good writer. But this is my favorite line. I have few recollections of Thatcher. I'd become a delinquent by then, living on heroin and benefit fraud. So, okay,
there you go.
Maybe it's your fault. You were on heroin and living on benefits fraud, and you're critical of this woman. I think you have the issue. Sorry, Dana.
For example, let's just look at Michigan and Detroit in particular. In a world of hurt, you have a Republican governor who's come in, and now it's his responsibility to try to fix something. He takes one, a step towards getting the city back on track, and you know what? All the haters came out. So I think that there will always be some, and now they're just a little bit louder because of social media. But I think in death you could just say, just let your hatred go.
Yeah, let it go.
I remember when Breitbart died.
Yeah.
How many people were the same way over here?
Yeah.
It's terrible. Tolerance.
It's because they think it's evil.
So,
yeah. Bob,
Birth and death
you have your mouth open.
Don't call me. I have hiccups.
Well, okay. Can I just point out something that happened that was fairly amusing, the only amusing part of this? An anti-Thatcher website had started the hashtag, Now Thatcher's Dead. But a lot of dumb people read it as Now That Cher's Dead, because that's exactly how it's spelt. So they all started tweeting under the assumption that Cher is dead.
Oh, my God.
And they were heartbroken.
And they were heartbroken. That was the only...
And they were so relieved.
Slightly amusing
No
part.
parties.
No parties. All right.